to a kiln for a slow cooling process, also called annealing. That was left in there for about 24 hours. And then they removed the piece of glass. They put it on a giant water jet cutter, which is almost like a laser, and it cuts the pieces to form to the exact measurements of our glass floor. Now the variance of this is less than a 1/16 of an inch, so it is a precision to watch a giant piece of glass in laser jet water cutting the pieces, and when they're done, it forms to our floor. It is pretty overwhelming seeing it. The great part about this, we had our filmmakers with us, and they filmed this entire process, not only for documentation, but also to help us finish what we started a couple years ago with the Rotunda Restoration Project, and have that being documented as a film as well. So this will be the completion of that, and everyone will be able to see that live. So what I explained to you in a few words, you'll be able to understand a lot more when you get to see the pictures or the film itself. So right now the pieces are removed. They lightly sandblast them to give them that opaque finish that we have downstairs, and then they're shipping to us. So I would say in the next week or two, I think next week we're finally having the final pieces in phase 1 completed. We will remove the walls over to the next quadrant and then start phase 2. Now we originally had a late spring finish, which was late May, early June, but due to the equipment that broke down and getting back on target, we're now seeing it as an August of 26 finish. So we lost a couple months in the process. Although it's one of the processes and projects that you don't want to rush it. This is a one-time thing. I don't know if we'll ever be able to do this again. Hopefully we don't have to. But so having an extra month, couple months added to this project, we didn't really see as a big failure. The other thing about this project, we have received a lot of attention from the media. We've done numerous interviews on the local news and trade magazines. But not only that, our social media pages have blown up with the number of people who have made comments and seen it and want to know a lot more about it. We keep getting asked to share our stories with different groups around the United States who are getting ready to do glass. So it's already been a success, and we haven't even finished yet. So it's pretty exciting, and I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. In your folders, you're going to find an insert that highlights the tree removals and tree plantings that we approved earlier in the commission meeting a few months back. I wanted to share that with you again because I would say the first weekend of November, on the removal plan, there's trees that are highlighted in red. They will actually start being removed, and the stumps are going to be removed. Once that area is complete, we'll start immediately looking to start planting the trees, as the second insert shows tree plantings for 2025 and 2026. If you look at just the trees that are highlighted for 25, we are looking to plant those yet this year. So the trees will be removed and trees to be replaced as illustrated. We won't deviate from that plan as far as the east lawn, and we hope to stick with that next fall as we work on 2026 removals and plantings as well. If you have any questions on that at any time, please just let me know and we can adjust. We know it is a lot of change, but we want to make sure that we're doing this the right way. So if it needs to be a different time or date, let us know and we can try to work around that. Last meeting I mentioned something about the east exterior stairs, and we've done a lot more research since then, so I'll kind of give an update on that discussion. In 2014, the lower section of the east steps were replaced and a snow system was added underneath them. The upper set of stairs were not touched during that time, and they are showing severe wear and cracking into the steps. I had our design build partners, Chad and Ben right behind us here, review those areas thoroughly, look at all their notes, and they did inspections themselves, and they recommend that we do replace the upper stairs completely. The profile on the stairs is also different than any of the other stairs we've replaced in the last 30 years. So when we replace them next summer, which is the best time to do this, because we're going to need them for 3 or 4 weeks. So we're going to replace those upper stairs in the summer of 2026. Hopefully there won't be as many rallies and events. Even though we will allow rallies and events to take place, we're going to push them to the bottom of the stairs so construction can take place as quickly as possible to replace those. So that'll be something I'll talk about in the near future, but want to make sure I followed up from the last meeting saying here's the direction we're headed with those steps. In this room, if you look to the side of you, you'll see giant acoustical panels, and I've talked about these for probably over a year. Well, we have finally worked, and we worked diligently to find the right color of fabric and to make sure that the panels have the correct acoustical attenuation, and we're getting ready to start replacing those. The work is scheduled for the end of November when the legislature is on break, so we can get in here, remove the panels, put them back, and then by the time the legislator meets or has committee in here again, those will be 100% replaced. But wanted to give you an update on that progress. You also remember me talking about the west side rain leaders. Well, the roof drain, also known as the rain leaders, have been successfully repaired, at least 3 of the 4. A 4th rain leader was not successfully completed. We actually got into a line that was an abandoned line, but it wasn't an actual rain leader itself. We went down this route on this particular rain leader, which is adjacent to room H53, where the House Business Director's office is. We did everything we can not to open up the wall to get to this rain leader. Unfortunately, we do now have to get into that office space and open up that wall. I've communicated with Mr. Doug Simon, and he has agreed to let us back into the space. We did push it to November when the legislature goes on break. That way he could have conducted his business up to that point. So again, we appreciated his patience as he worked through this project. In fact, the House of Representatives in whole and under the leadership under Scott and Doug and even the Speaker have been supporters of our project so far, and we appreciate your patience as we work through all these. Once completed, we'll have inspected and repaired all of the roof drains in the entire building, and they will now run the excessive water from the roof, from the historical building, away from the building for the first time in over 40 years minimum that we're aware of. So this is a pretty big accomplishment in finding this, because it could have continued to have water damage to the building underneath. So we're very happy in finding that. As I move on, the House and Senate chamber ceiling survey I mentioned. So in the coming months, our architects, consultants will begin a thorough investigation of the House and Senate chamber ceilings. As you're all aware, the ceilings in the chambers are very ornate with different colors of paint, gold leaf, and glass panels. They're not easy to get to, nor are they easy to take care of. These areas are in need of a deep cleaning and paint restoration since they have not been touched since the early 1990s, which was the end of the Capitol's restoration process. And that sometimes seems like yesterday to me, but also seems like years ago, which it was. Upon completion of this investigation, we'll develop a scope of work, a strategic plan of action, and a projected schedule that I can share with the Commission on this major endeavor. The inspections are going to start taking place in December and probably fall into January. At no time will we interfere with legislative session or activities going on in those spaces. This project is forecasted to take place in the summer of 2027, so I'll come back to the Commission a number of times and report our findings and start strategizing the logistics of this project. We're not sure. We know in the past that they had scaffolding in there while they work through this project, so we will, again, work with everyone to make sure that we can complete this major endeavor without interfering with the legislature or minimally interfering with the legislature. This next topic I want to spend a little bit of time on, and it's about drone education and drone detection. As we continued to build our security plan in the Capitol building, we started to do a deep dive into drones. There's been a lot of talk about drones lately. We've all see and hear about drones being used in our country and around the world. The problem is that the use of drones and technology is moving at a very rapid pace. In fact, the technology is moving much faster than anticipated and creating some hurdles for policymakers to establish accepted laws and policies that apply to all the buildings and residences that we work. We all know within a few years, Amazon's going to be dropping packages at our doorstep and at our commercial buildings and our facilities. The questions I have for us here at the Capitol building are many, but a few of them are as is. Where do these packages get delivered? Is there a safe zone or a zone to land or drop off a package? Are the drones allowed to enter our airspace without permissions? What about the use of drones during a rally or an event? Are these drone pilots licensed? Will they fly a drone into a person if they oppose their view? Will they drop an unwanted package into a crowd or onto a speaker? Or drop unnecessary items onto groups that could be an explosive, it could be a poison, it could be anything. These are all questions that we really need to answer because we all know that the threat and the use of drones for nefarious reasons are there, in addition to all the good reasons that are there. As you can see, as I mentioned, all these do need to be addressed. Fortunately, we do know that there is one state representative, Bill Bruck, is already starting to work on legislation that'll address a lot of these questions. Additionally, there is a strong need to classify the Michigan State Capitol as critical infrastructure. In my dive to learn more, I've met with many folks related to drone industry, and I'm not saying I'm even a novice at this point, but I've learned so much in the last few months about drones, it's overwhelming, quite frankly. I fortunately was contacted by a reliable friend who introduced me to a company who is into drone detection. I met with a group called Airspace Link, and they introduced me to what they do. They've created a software system that tracks the flight of all drones in an area that illustrates a drone flight path and even tracks it back to where the drone pilot is located. This is a Michigan-based company, and they are growing at a very rapid pace. At our meeting, they pulled up the software and pulled up the city of Detroit. Fortunately, they have clients that are Ford Field, Comerica Park, Detroit Airport. They even monitor the University of Michigan Football Stadium and Spartan Stadium. But as they pulled this up, it looked like an air traffic control pattern with all the drones flying in the spaces. It was quite overwhelming, to be frank, of how many people are flying drones in all these spaces. But this tool is something I can see very valuable for the future of monitoring the Capitol building's airspace just as a detection. I am setting up a meeting now with Michigan State Police and Chair Candler to meet with this company one more time for them to see this software in action. And upon the conclusion of this meeting, we will start to discuss our next steps. The first step in the security plan would be to start monitoring drone activity. Our policies and procedures are in place where we can't even enforce the use of drones in our airspace because the FAA monitors the drone flights, but it's the FBI who is their enforcement arm. There's no other enforcement arm currently that takes place. But we know that a lot of the legislation and policies that are being enacted, the FBI is even passing this on to other agencies, as like the Detroit Airport can now enforce them, and some of the folks in Detroit. The logistics of and the details of that I can't answer anymore, but they are really, really working into that. The next part of it is, if we become a critical infrastructure, we can then legally add a geofence to keep drones away and out of our airspace without our consent or without our permission. And with Michigan State as our enforcement arm, once those policies are in place, they can start enforcing and taking hold of that, which, again, creates a safer environment for all of us. As I started this update, I mentioned that this is a very fast-moving technology. It is my objective to keep up with the news and information related to drones and share any of the related findings with you, the Capitol Commission, and then ask for direction, or I'll make recommendations and ask for approval before I make any other decisions. I'll move on to my next, yes?
Who put that button so far away I can't reach it? This is really a very important topic that Rob's talking about. The technology for drone implementation and use is really rapidly growing. The detection and protection technology is growing quickly, but the law has not kept up with it, so we have no ability to implement some of the technologies that would allow us to protect ourselves. So this is really a big deal. We need not only our own understanding policy, but we're going to need legislation to allow us to be able to protect the building. So it's something we're going to be spending a lot of time on in the near future, so keep your eyes open for that. Commissioner Bauer?
So I guess I would have assumed that above our Capitol would have been a no-fly zone for drones. So it's not?
No. We have a policy that states we don't want them there.
Right.
But we don't really have an enforcement arm.
And there's not the law yet.
Most of the folks comply. They file their flight path with the FAA. We even have our own drone, so we do the same thing to do inspections on our building. But a lot of times we get requests that, hey, I want to fly it over during a rally or an event, and we deny it because we don't have control of it. So we know that we need more policies and procedures to help us so we can enforce that activity. Okay. In your folders, you're going to find a save the date, which looks very similar to this. This is just has saved the date for the premiere of our Battle Flag documentary. This is going to be held on Saturday, December 6th, and we're going to have 2 showings that day. This is a very exciting event. Matt Van Acker and our film team have been working very, very hard on this, and I've got to see some of the film clips and spend time with them. And when this is complete, this is going to encapsulate or encompass the entire story of this whole program that we have here, which is, I want to say world-renowned, but nationally renowned. The time and effort that Matt Van Acker and his team have put in, May and Cambrai are doing conservation of the flags here on site. It is amazing the amount of work they're doing to save these battle flags. And this story in this documentary really is the icing on the cake, and I think is definitely worth sharing. You're more than welcome to join us if you can make it. That's why I made it mention here. It'll be open to the general public as well after a certain point. We know that this is the premier event. We know we'll probably have future events too for other folks who aren't able to get into it, because it is limited by the number of people we have in there. But I wanted to make sure I mention it to everyone here who has the first opportunity to see it.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, we're very much looking forward to this. It's going to be a big event, big deal. It's going to be, everybody's going to be blown away, I think, by what you're going to see in this film. It's going to be great. Thank you. Any other questions from any?
I have a couple other things I'd like to talk about.
Yes, go ahead, Rob.
Just sorry. These are kind of fun ones, so I like to share them. The state of Michigan's Christmas tree crew selected a 2025 Christmas tree. It's a 68-foot spruce from Sault Ste. Marie. This is the 39th Christmas tree for the state of Michigan. The tree will be harvested on Thursday, October 30th, then transported to our Capitol building. The spruce will arrive here in Lansing on Saturday, November 1st, and to grace the Capitol lawn for the 2025 holiday season. Once it's in place, City of Lansing's forestry team will prepare the tree for the lighting, and then the Lansing Board of Water Light will assist our Capitol Commission team installing the lights. The tree lighting ceremony this year is on November 21st, which is the 41st Silver Bells celebration in the city. And then lastly on my list, I just wanted to give a weekend update as far as the tour goes. This last Saturday we were open, we had 100 people total, and we had every tour at every hour filled. So again, it shows continuous progress and consistency. It isn't to the point of growing yet, so it isn't my recommendation to add any more days. I think we continue to stay with 1 Saturday a month until we see the need to grow more.
Great,
So
good
that's
news.
all I have.
Excellent, thanks. Any questions from anybody on the commission? We're good? Great. Thanks, Rob. Very great report. Again, and I'm impressed with all the work that you and all the staff are doing. It's just, you guys are doing a great job. Appreciate your commitment. Is there any other new business to come before the commission that we haven't touched on yet? What do you think? Anybody from the public wish to comment? That's an easy Monday morning, right? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner Bauer moves. Dan supports. Without objection, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.